Who are you?
I don't know. I woke up here too.
Who are you? Where am I?
Those are the top 2 questions.
What is this place?
What now?
Hello and welcome to Watchin' Stuff, the show about watching stuff. I'm Nero, and with me is my Canadian counterpart, WHYBOY, and today, well, first off, we're together again. Now we're in Canada.
Yeah, and we got a nice setup and all that in my basement and all that, so mind a little reverb and all that in the audio. But we are talking about a Netflix show this time, The Hollow. Like, look at that image back there. Doesn't that look so cool? 3 kids, Grim Reaper, some weird purple guy. Doesn't
Demon Dogs?
Yeah, the Demon Dogs back there. Doesn't that look like something that would be really cool and interesting?
Yeah, it does.
But it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Like God, we were so hyped for The Hollow. We were thinking like this would be like something for our Halloween special that we're going to be doing like in October, obviously.
I thought this was going to be like the next Gravity Falls.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like it had the Demon Dogs in that cool first episode and all that, where it's basically like 3 kids wake up in an empty room with just a typewriter in it. That would be Mir, Kai, and Adam.
Yes.
Yeah, they basically wake up with no memories of anything. They basically even have a piece of paper with their names on it, and that's all they got. They basically have to get out of the room like all saw-like and such, as it's filling up with poison gas. And then afterwards, they basically just go into this new spooky forest where demon dogs are just trying to eat their faces. So it's just like...
As you do.
Yeah, and they basically do that by just opening a vault and they hop out of it. And just from there, it's just basically a cavalcade of going to different locations, meeting all sorts of just weirdness and all that. And just the first 2 episodes really just sort of epitomize where The Hollow really stands as the strongest point. Just like, it has death. It had the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse in one of the episodes. It had the Demon Dogs. It had some real cool mystery intrigue and such. Because basically, when Kai, Adam, and Mira basically get out of the bunker in the first place, they start to realize they each have some sort of power to them. Like, Mira is able to talk to animals. Adam has basically kung fu abilities and all that, and a little bit of super strength and all that.
Yeah, he's kind of like Nightwing, like he's very acrobatic.
Yeah, and Kai knows how to do machines.
Yeah, he's like the Donatello of the group, or Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's about as annoying.
Yeah, and they're basically just trying to figure out, like, how do they know these things? Well, actually, they're not trying to find out that. They're just trying to find out their way back home, even though they don't know where home is.
I like the fact that they also have, like, you start off with such a strong opening where it's like, we have no memory of who we are, we have no memory of where we are, and they're even unaware of their own unique gifts. And then, they start playing with the idea of, like, oh, well, Adam's very acrobatic, and he's very athletically capable, he can fight, and then Mira can, breathe underwater, she can commune with animals, and Kai's, arguably, he's super intelligent.
Yeah, arguably he's just underlined in that.
Yeah, well, because, like, the character personality, Adam is the leader archetype, Mira is... She starts off actually as the strong, independent character, but then just derails after a while into the...
Like, just basically useless girl archetype.
Yeah, like she's getting caught, and then she's like fumbling around.
Yeah, and Kai is basically just sort of the bumbling doofus of the trio.
Yeah.
And the bumbling doofus can really work for a lot of different shows. And that's basically their 3-man dynamic, and they're basically the 3 characters that is trying to basically get their way out of this crazy, crazy world.
Right. I don't know if I want us to tell our audience what the end is. I know we're a very spoiler-oriented podcast and blog. That's it's just how we do things. But I feel like you need to watch it to get that same level of frustration we did by the end.
Even though at the same time, I really want to almost discuss it because there is just such a way that I really want to discuss with the audience that doing that sort of twist in a show like this basically just sucks out any of the tension away from everything.
Oh yeah, because the starting point of the show feels like it opens up and it feels like it's Saw. Like we weren't expected to be, to be like Saw. We weren't expecting it to be
cutting off their legs and all that.
Yeah, but like it had that creepiness to it because it's like you're trapped in a bunker underground. There was like that sense of mystery of what's it going to be, and once they leak the lead, and it's like, oh, here's a taste of what the big reveal is, and you instantly put it together. You're like, oh, this ruins everything.
Yeah. It just really does. As soon as that one moment happens, you just basically know the full thing, because basically that one clue can only mean one thing. But we'll talk about that more in the future. Maybe we'll just put some timestamps on the screen just basically say, like, if you want to just skip that part. But we're basically just going to say this show is such a disappointment.
Colossal.
A frustrating disappointment.
I thought this was going to be like... the next Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to have, an air of mystery to it that's going to leave you wondering for so long what the narrative really, what it means, what's it going to be, what's it going to happen. And once they do the reveal and even you could figure out the reveal before they even do it, but like once they fully just upfront state it, it ruins everything. Every mystery element unravels.
It really just undercuts everything, basically because the answer to it is just so simple sort of answer. It's just sort of a hand wavy thing away from it.
Yeah.
But even removing all of that, there are just elements in the actual show itself that are basically just fighting against it, just trying to be good and all that. Like, out of the main trio, Adam is definitely the most strongest out of the trio.
Oh, I wouldn't even argue that, because like when they first open up and they're in the bunker in episode 1, Adam's the one who's trying to figure out, all right, first order business is like who's who, who are we?
Yeah, who am I? Like what am I doing here? And he basically has a real sense of like leadership to him, like any sort of leader archetype should have. And that basically makes him the most admirable out of the trio throughout the entire show, because he basically sticks to that all the way through. Like he's very sacrificing of himself. Always puts his neck on the line, and because of his kung fu skills, he basically does do that, and just with ease and such. Then you got Mira next, who is the second character that's sort of likable. Like halfway through the series, like she's very strong, she's very quippy and all that sort of stuff. So you can really grow to like her and such. But then you realize by the second half, her power set kind of just sort of like anchors her down in a lot of ways.
Well, because like it's not even that the talking to animal power is useless, but it seems like they're in most situations where that power wouldn't be useful. Like they go to like the carnival world and it has no use there. I'm trying to think of like any time, like it's vaguely useful when they go to the Minotaur world.
Yeah.
It's completely useless during the finale of the show, to like the nth degree, where like talking to animals never comes into use.
Yeah, where they basically have to add another power to her to basically make it work for her. Like it's just sort of like the depressing thing about Mira, because she could be such a great character even with her powers and such a personality.
What about the fact that like after the first few episodes, she suddenly becomes like love bait?
Yeah,
for both boys, by the way.
Yeah, like, oh, Adam, like just kisses Adam one episode, just like, oh, we don't talk about this. We don't talk about this at all.
She kisses Adam, and it's not like they fall into each other or something. She flat out kisses Adam, and you're like, oh, okay, so that must be it then. They're gonna start developing that romance, and she immediately shuts it down.
Yeah, because Adam is just all like, I don't feel anything for you. Okay, don't say anything, Adam. Don't say anything.
The weirder one is that I think by episode maybe 5, because it's only a 13-episode series, but they I think by like episode 5, that's where they take off on the rocket ship, and Adam botches it, and they end up crashing, and she falls into the ocean. And for some reason, Kai or Key or whatever the fudge,
Kai, yeah.
He's like really heartbroken and mortified that she's gone, even though
they've been together for like a day.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny because when when they meet the horsemen, they meet the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and at one point they have to help Death save his horse from dying.
Right.
So Mira has to go out on her own to go to the science lab in the same area where they got out
in
of
the
the
very
bunker.
first area in the spooky forest.
In the spooky forest, and like she she does it all her own, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
But then like afterwards, like Kai is like in love with her for some reason, or like he's at least very much like heartbroken that she's gone, which is weird because there was like no episode or even any scene to indicate a really big connection between them.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a show where there shouldn't really be sort of a romance element to that sort of extent. It really should have been just sort of like a camaraderie sort of thing. Like just like with like it's gonna be weird for me bringing in like Scooby-Doo and all that. Like the strongest part of Scooby-Doo is usually the Scooby Gang working together to solve the mystery.
Right, it's a group of friends. It's camaraderie.
Right, exactly. There we go. Gotta put that away. Just get that one shaky. But yeah, just basically like that. Just having some issues right there. Just go. Sorry about that. But it's some sort of notification from the phone.
Oh, does it come up on the computer? And...
Yeah, it just went through the TV.
All right.
But yeah, with that sort of beeping and all that, we should talk about the third of the trio, because Mira may be a disappointment, but Kai was flat out bad from the very beginning.
Kai is horrible. He's so... First off, he's just unbelievably annoying. Like, I understand he's the comic relief for a show that likes to... kind of like, it tries to sell itself on being dark when it's really not.
Yeah, it's definitely not dark at all. But Kai's just supposed to be like the cowardly, bumbling idiot sort of character. But they just play the cowardly angle way too hard.
They dial it up to 11 because everything he does is... he's aggravating.
Yeah.
He's very annoying. He's a total butt monkey where he constantly screws up.
Yeah, it makes the situation far worse in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, the adventure's not the hard part. It's that you have somebody making the adventure the hard part.
Yeah, exactly. Like much more later in the show, Adam basically gets almost like critically hurt in a scenario. It basically it's up to Mira and Kai to basically save the day and all that. And who do you think's making the whole travel harder? It's Kai.
Yeah, he was even annoying in the very beginning because like he's constantly whiny. He's always like berating Adam, where it's like, "Who made you leader, dude? You're not making any choices yourself at any point."
You just
yeah, like why don't you just screw off then? Like instead of him constantly complaining about like Adam, and it's because like he does that repeatedly, where it's just like he constantly gets up in Adam's face about at any point where Adam tries to make like an executive decision as leader.
right.
And obviously you do that narratively because you need drama. But every time Kai does it, it's not because he's got like a valid point that questions Adam's leadership. It's just there to have somebody argue with Adam.
Yeah.
And that's it. Even though like, okay, like first bit, right? They're in the bunker.
Right.
And I believe it was Adam who's like, okay, I think we have this figured out. We have to make it to the gate. We have to unlock it, turn off the electric fence, and then leave. And Kai gets all up in his face about it. And Kai goes, fine, I'll just go on my own. And Adam's like, there you go. And because they had to rush out so quickly because of Kai's stupidity, they couldn't get all the supplies they wanted to when they were at that lab. Like, they were going through the lab and they were...
Yeah, looking for any sort of, like, materials and all that. You know, something that you should pretty much search, obviously, if you wake up in a bunker nearby.
Yeah, and at a science lab, you know, you could find any number of things. But because Kai's being Kai and he Kais it up,
yeah.
he constantly, like, nags, and then they have to go in a hurry. So then when they end up in the next area with the horsemen, instead of having the material they need...
It was Kai's fault that they didn't grab everything that they wanted.
Yeah. So the mission isn't hard because, like, man, this is just a hard journey that we're gonna have to suck up and go through.
Yeah, it's Kai is the one that's basically making it harder. And basically, this is what this show is in a nutshell. It's basically a lot of the adventure is just like things happening just to make it harder. Like Adam is most capable of the trio, but after the Horseman episode, basically after the third episode or whatever it is, like where they finally make their spaceship fly because again Kai the butt monkey has the power to like know how to fix machines and all that. But Adam's just like, oh, I kicked something. Oh, we're gonna crash.
Yeah, like they're in the ship, and then Adam like tosses up his feet, and it does like a major coupling that ends up destroying the ship. And it's like, really? Couldn't the ship just not have been fully put together like properly? It's understandable. I mean, it was like an alien spaceship. How else was Kai supposed to?
Yeah, put it together. Like it is the most irritating thing about the show, where it's just sort of like a hand wave. He's just sort of like, let's get the beat. I think it's almost at this point that we should talk about the major rooting factor of the Hollow entirely. I'll display a timestamp right here that basically says like you should skip to this end of the video to basically skip all this. If you want to just basically get the full frustration of the Hollow, just skip this part and go watch the Hollow first. It's only 13 episodes, so it's pretty fast. Pretty boring after the third episode, but pretty fast. So, what is the big reveal in the Hollow? Where are these trio of kids?
How do we explain? They woke up in a bunker. They have no identity. They have these special abilities that they themselves are unaware of.
Yeah,
they're rivaling another group of individuals who also have unique special abilities.
Yeah, they meet horsemen, minotaurs, spider people,
talking trees,
crazy ninjas, and all that sort of things. It's a video game.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just a video game.
It undoes everything.
Because all you need to do to explain anything is just say that. Well, why is there a big tree there? It's a video game. Why is there a Minotaur series? It's a game. It's just a game.
How do you explain their superpowers?
It's a game.
That's it.
Why are there just separate biomes for all the land in their whole island? It's a game.
Yeah.
It just works like a game. It just makes such a disappointing sort of just send off to everything, especially at the very end where the final reveal is, where they're just like, oh, real life characters and all that. Oh no, because the Hollow was a game the whole time.
Which, by the way, when they do that in the final episode at the very end, where it's like they all come out of the virtual reality and they're like, oh, the Hollow's a game you were playing. They don't explain if it's like a game show, if it's for prize money. I mean, we could infer it's probably a game show because there's like an audience and a host.
Yeah.
So we can infer that. But it's like,
yeah,
what was this? Was it like testing out a new game that's going to go on the market? Is this a normal thing? Like, it just sort of raises further questions of like, well, wait, what is this thing?
Like what's going on? Like, it raises just further questions in the actual show because even the second team of kids and all that, like we said, like all the kids are supposed to start off with like zero knowledge and all that, but the second team of kids know that it's a virtual world, and that if they win over the other team, they get a prize of some sort.
By the way, they never...
Yeah, how are they supposed to know there's a prize?
What was the prize? Did they even say it was money or something?
No, they didn't. Maybe they just assumed that sort of thing, but that's just sort of the issue. Like, there's just too many assumptions to basically...
Instead of telling a story, it's just... You fill in the blank. It's like a Mad Lib.
Yeah, it just makes no sense because by the end of the series, basically the world is crashing and all that stuff. It just fumbles apart afterwards.
It sucks because like the weird guy character was actually kind of interesting because I remember when we first started watching and I started pulling from my mythology knowledge, and it's like, okay, the Four Horsemen, yokai, and like every time the purple guy showed up or the weird guy showed up, he would always like, you'd have to call out for help. He'd arrive and he'd like grant your wish to help you. So I was talking to you, I'm like, maybe he's a Jinn, and you're like, well, why do they know the horsemen? I'm like, maybe they're like gods trapped in mortal form. And we were like concocting this much more fascinating narrative.
Yeah, all these different ideas and all of that. Like, who were you saying like each of the kids were in terms of gods and all that?
Well, like it depended because like, obviously her being like Mira being water based, she could have been like the new reincarnation of Poseidon or any number of oceanic deities.
Right.
Adam was harder to pinpoint because usually just being super strong is more of a demigod thing, like Hercules
like
or something.
maybe more Achilles, something like that. Like
yeah, well, but he wasn't a god though. He was a hero.
Right.
He was considered like a Greek hero. I don't know what the hell Ka could have been. I mean, like
Like,
they're chariot people, which I guess you could debate. Like they're gods of chariots and stuff like that. So you could argue like, rocket ship is kind of like a chariot. You know, it's
Yeah, like even if we just took the Greek thing out of there, we can just go like much more broader and all that. Like god of the hunt, god of the water, maybe god of technology. Something like
Well, I remember at one point because they decided to attack another superpower onto Kai to make him useless.
maybe useful because it's
No.
fire.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't mean useful. I know what I said. Like they gave him pyrokinesis, so I was like, oh, okay, he's good with tech. And a rocket ship, in a way, it's kind of like a chariot. It's transportation. Yeah, it's not the direct definitive definition of chariot, but I could understand where you're like, okay. And then fire, I was like, maybe he's like Apollo
Right.
or Helios or something. You know, one of the sun gods. And then it's just like, no, it's all a video game. And then when they get to the end and they start showing like them, they do that crap at the very end where they're like, oh, something hours earlier to show you how.
Oh yeah.
They set up to go in the game and they have to choose like their power set. And it's like, okay, so she chose water,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure why that means she could talk to animals.
Like they can show like multiple powers and all that.
But we don't know that.
Yeah, we have to infer that.
Because again, they don't tell you a story, they just want you to fill a story in. But it's like, she chose like hydrokinesis, which I would have even let slip, like, okay, she could talk to fish and stuff. She can do the Aquaman thing.
Yeah.
Fine. That's fine with me. But like she could talk to crows and she could talk to like land animals. So it's like, oh, she could just do whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, even at one point, like, she doesn't even have hydrokinesis originally. For the majority of the show, it's she swim good.
And then she could call on animals good.
Yeah, and she breathes underwater.
Yeah, so it's basically in the final episode where she's able to basically swim so hard she's able to basically make a whirlpool appear above ground, basically have Adam jump on it, basically beat the final boss. Which I wonder if you guys can guess what it is in a video game.
You know what's funny? It reminds me of that scene from Super Mansion.
Yeah.
Do you remember in Super Mansion, it was season 2, where there was like a hacker attacking the League of Super Freedom or the League of Freedom, and at one point they have to plug in Rex, and because Rex is so old, instead of having like an imagination to be creative, like Robobot's talking to him and he goes, "You might see something you've never seen before," and he's like, "It's a castle." "Of course it is, Rex." "Oh no, there's like a virus attacking. You can take the form of anything." "And in your case, it's our dragon, Robobot." "Of course it is, because you're so uninspired." That's exactly what it felt like when we got to that point.
Yeah, it's just a dragon castle, and they have to face the final dragon to beat the game.
And then like, they never explain this, but like when they do like the flashback scene and it's like this is the powers they choose. So she chooses hydrokinesis, and Adam chooses kung fu, and Kai chooses fire. But for some reason, then how does Kai know how to repair like an alien spaceship?
Yeah, how does she know how to talk to animals? And why does Adam not have anything else other than kung fu? Maybe just slightly better strength.
He's stronger than the rest of them.
Yeah.
That's really it though.
So either they just get like multiple powers and all that, and then the other team of kids basically just has flying, super speed, and OP, basically telekinesis.
Oh, you mean the rivals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the girl.
Flies.
The girl can fly, so she can self-propel. The one kid who's like the big. We'll get into this like really quick because they're such an afterthought for characters.
Yeah.
But like the one kid, he's got telekinesis, so he can move objects with his mind with a thought, which is broken beyond belief.
Yeah.
And then the other kid's got super speed.
Yeah.
But like, it's supposed to be a video game. But like the other, like it would make sense if the other kids were programs made by the game developers,
Yeah.
and that's why they're so aggressive against the players. These kids, though, were, like, psychopathic. There's a point where the telekinetic kid tries to crush Kai with a cactus.
Yeah, crush guy with a cactus, push Adam so hard it basically almost breaks Adam's back.
Well, like, he clearly hits Adam so hard that he's dying.
Yeah.
That's why they have to go with, like, the journey to, like, the spider people, and somehow getting venom pumped inside of him fixes him for whatever reason.
Yeah, but they're just psychopathic kids.
Yeah, like, that's the thing that gets me, where it's like, if this is like a game
where you wiped out your entire memory and all that, you just basically had your personality and all that.
So the personality is they're psychopaths.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just makes me just think and realize, just like, oh my god, my friends up there are just psychopaths that are just going to kill me.
My friends are pretty horrible people.
Yeah, they're just the whole concept of the game just doesn't make sense, even from the very basis of it.
I hope this doesn't get a season 2. I don't even understand where you would go at season 2.
Yeah, I have no idea. Just basically, the base of the game is like the weird guy just comes up and basically says like, okay, we have these 2 team of kids. They got a list of things they got to complete. We're gonna wipe their memories entirely and put them in a bunker, and they got to complete all that list.
This is just like I've said that to you too when we were watching. I'm like, this feels like Final Fantasy 14, where like the Lassie are like, you have to complete a mission, okay, or you end up as a crystal or a Zom. Oh God! Well, what's my mission? Good luck.
Yeah, it does. Like, how are you able to complete anything unless you know? What's the point of a game if you just forget the fact that you're actually doing a game?
What's even like the end game?
Yeah, what's even the cool fact is like these kids thought they were gonna die in that.
Yeah, like, I guess the idea is like, but then they'll play really hard because they're gonna like have fear of death, and it's like, okay, you could argue and debate, maybe it's true, maybe they'll play better.
Maybe.
Okay. But then when the game is over, they do that crap where the one girl from the other team looks at Kai, she has a glitch in her eye from like the game, and then it pulls that, was it real? Wasn't it? Was it all in their heads, or was it all... No! We saw them come off of chairs, that visors on them.
Yeah, of course there's a glitch in her eye and all that. There was a bunch of errors in the game and all that, so you just messed up one of your contestants.
It's so stupid, because then it's like, it's trying to be like, oh, you know, is it or isn't it?
Yeah, you can't do that when you just tell the entire mystery just by saying it's a game.
You have everybody acknowledge it's a game. Adam figures it out. The other team admits it. Even the weird guy who turns out to be the big host for this game show flat out says, like, the game is crashing.
Game's crashing, get out of here. And
then they have the gall to be like, was it or wasn't it? No! That's not a mystery.
Well, it's a really just basic mystery. Like, Scooby-Doo would be proud of them.
Yeah, maybe the Monster of Mexico version of Scooby-Doo would be proud of them.
Yeah.
Where would you even rate this? Like, where do you go with this?
Oh, God. I would have to do rock bottom. There's not really enough of it that I can really just say crunch chowder to it and all that.
No, because even the animation's not that good, because it's like, it's very static flash, but we were fine with that.
No, I was fine with sort of the style of it, because even like this stuff does look cool. They each have very distinct looks to them and all that. Basically would stand out in a lot of the animation market right now.
God, Kai looks so much like you.
Don't say that. Don't say that. I do not want to look like Kai.
You're Kai.
No!
You're Kai, my boy. You're gonna screw everything up left and right on the mission.
Pyrokinesis.
Yeah, I can't believe, too, they gave the stupid kid who's quickly jealous of Adam, who, by the way, he starts, like, lighting Adam on fire.
Yeah, pyrokinesis. Yeah, that was real.
He looks at him and, like, spontaneously combusts a flame to, like, light his foot on fire or light his head on fire. But then when you have to fight the bad kids, for some reason that power doesn't come into play.
Yeah, where you just easily just set someone on fire and all that.
I'd have to agree with Rock Bottom, because even though the animation is kind of static, I was letting it pass at the beginning because I was so engrossed by the mystery element. Once that element has been thoroughly crushed, there's nothing.
Yeah.
The voice acting is fine. No one gives really a bad performance. No one gives like an outstanding performance either.
Yeah, it's just a really disappointing sort of show, which it just hurts it most of all.
If you want, it's on Netflix and you can check it out.
Yeah, it's 13 episodes. If you can get past the whole twist of it all, like we won't mention it here because people have already skipped here and all that, then you should very much enjoy it. Like, I still think, like, even worse than the whole twist aspect, it's Kai is the one that's ruining the show.
Oh, that's not even up for debate.
Yeah.
Not even...
Yeah.
Not even up for debate.
Yeah.
He's horrible. He is ungodly annoying.
Like, just in our ways, then we would just easily sort of fix this. Go with our sort of twist angle of just these guys, kids being just basically gods and kids' bodies and all that. Just have these two. Just have Adam and Mira.
Well, like, I don't even understand the point of a comic relief character in a kid's show that's not that dark, that has comedy.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing where, like, I've seen this, like, time and time again where people are like, okay, like, let's take... We could take any number of Disney movies, but, like, Frozen has Olaf, you know, Moana has Hey Hey. You don't need characters like Olaf and Hey Hey. It's a comedy movie.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Anna does funny things, Maui does funny things. There's no need to have a character that's literally designated comic relief in a project that's already got comedy. It'd be like if Gravity Falls was like, oh, Mabel's the comic relief. No, it's Gravity Falls. Everybody's comic relief.
Yeah.
Seuss, Grunkle Stan, Dipper, even Bill.
Yeah, they're all just sort of comedic in separate sort of ways.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that, like, Kai is pretty much only relegated to the purpose of being comic relief.
Yeah, butt monkey comic relief.
Is annoying. Especially because all he does is that he's there to make the mission harder than it is. Instead of writing the mission genuinely a threat, and this goes back to, like, the MLP argument I've said with you time and time again, where it's like, it's not that the mission's hard for Twilight, it's that her friends are idiots and they're trying to make her job that much harder.
Exactly.
You know, it's the opposite, where, like, the SpongeBob movie is that the mission itself is hard. It's not like Patrick and SpongeBob are making, or, like, they're not making it harder for each other, just the mission itself is difficult.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. If the Hollow is about these kids and such, even with the crappy twist they have right now, just basically having to deal with, like, bigger and badder things just going along the way, basically challenging them in new different ways, that would have been fine.
That would have been great. It would have made sense. And you could have even actually, you could have maybe broken it up, because it's 13 episodes, maybe you could have broken it up where every few episodes is a micro arc for each character to go through. Something for Kai, something for Mira, something for Adam. And that could have worked. I understand 13 episodes are hard because pacing becomes a lot quicker.
Yeah.
When it's 13 episodes, because you only have a shorter amount of time. Even at 22 minutes a pop, you have a shorter amount of time to relegate some kind of story.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not that the show needs to have overly layered characters to work, but the thing is, you bring up stuff like the romance angle, it doesn't work because the pacing is so quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't have time to, like, develop or even iron out.
Yeah.
It just sort of, like, it comes up. It's like a fart.
Yeah.
Like, just out of nowhere. Oh, I like Mira. Oh, yeah?
Adam, what do you think?
I don't care. I'm the only one that's really busting his ass right now.
And Mira's just like, no, you don't like me, don't say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this. And guys, that's the Hollow. It was a show with so much potential. The idea, I think we read like a brief synopsis on, I think maybe Cartoon Brew. It might have been somewhere else.
Yeah.
But when we read, like, the initial synopsis, someone was like, the article we read was saying something along the lines of, like, it's like going to be the next Gravity Falls, because it's got, like, a great mystery element to it. It's going to be darker.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like this. I think someone did say, I think one of the articles we did read said, like, it's like animated Saw, but for, like, a younger audience. And we were like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I wonder how you play with that.
Yeah, if you just kept it on the same level as the first two episodes, it would have been that. But
maybe if they were just trapped in the facility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like it was like Aperture.
Yeah.
Like the facility, it was like this weird science lab, and then, like, they pumped neurotoxin into it.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was just like stuck in a little island all that, and basically just had to find their way out. Or find their way off the island sort of thing. Like, it could have weirdy and all that sort of stuff. Just don't give it that twist and all that.
It undermines everything.
Yep.
And, like, because they make the twist so simplistic, it's basically like the writers wrote themselves out of any need to actually think of something really thought-provoking or interesting to explain any number of the elements. Why their memories are gone, why they have superpowers, why Weirdy has the ability to transport them, the parallel universe angle. That it all gets undone by the twist that just says, like, nope. Nope, explained it all away.
Yeah, with just one single line.
Just like that. There you go. Like, imagine if they did that in Avatar. Imagine like last Airbender or Korra, or hell, do you one better. Imagine if like you were watching Gravity Falls,
yeah,
and instead of like building up and building up,
there's the answer. Yeah, that would have been so much more disappointing. Even though, truthfully, a lot of the mysteries by the end of Gravity Falls, I was fully all for. But then that's a
cast for another day, and I think people might like. Would you guys like to hear us talk about Gravity Falls? Because honestly, we can go at that for hours.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Gravity Falls is fantastic.
But I think this is it for this episode of Watchin stuff. That was the Hollow. You can check it out on Netflix and all that. And you can check us out on ToonGrin.com by subscribing to us below, hitting the little notification bell, and commenting below if you've seen the Hollow as well. What do you think? Do you think the twist was stupid or not?
If you like the twist, I would like to actually know what it was you found satisfying about it in terms of a narrative approach.
Yeah, just place that in the comments below and let's have a discussion on it.
As always, be sure to tune in
to ToonGrin.